Did ancient humans marry their own relatives? The surprising truth about prehistoric love: imagine waking up 20,000 years ago. No cities, no governments, no family records, no last names. No DNA tests, just a small group of perhaps 30 or 40 people struggling to survive in a world filled with predators, disease, and starvation. Now ask yourself a strange question: if your entire world consisted of only a few dozen people, who could you marry? And more importantly, how would you know whether that person was actually your cousin? Today, most societies have strict rules against marrying close relatives. But what about our ancient ancestors? Did prehistoric humans regularly have children with their own family members? Or did they somehow understand the dangers long before modern science existed? The answer is far more fascinating than most people realize. And surprisingly, it may reveal one of the secrets behind humanity's survival. To understand the problem, we first need to imagine what life was really like in the Ice Age. Most prehistoric humans did not live in giant tribes. Instead, they lived in small bands. Some groups may have contained only 20 to 50 individuals. That sounds incredibly small. And it creates an obvious problem. The smaller the group, the higher the chance that everyone is related. If a tribe has only 30 members, finding a completely unrelated partner becomes difficult. Modern genetics tells us that repeated breeding between close relatives increases the risk of harmful genetic mutations. Children may inherit 2 copies of defective genes, increasing the chance of disease and developmental problems. Today we know this because of DNA. But ancient humans had no knowledge of genetics, or did they? Not scientifically. Yet evidence suggests they may have understood something was wrong, not through biology, but through observation. Generation after generation, people would have noticed patterns. Certain unions produced weaker offspring, others did not. Over thousands of years, this may have led to social traditions designed to avoid close family relationships. In other words, prehistoric humans may have discovered the effects of inbreeding long before they understood the science behind it. Archaeologists have uncovered fascinating clues. Many ancient hunter-gatherer societies practiced what researchers call exogamy, a simple idea. You find a partner from another group, not your own. Imagine several neighboring tribes spread across a region. They meet occasionally, trade tools, exchange stories, celebrate seasonal gatherings. And during these meetings, young people find partners. The result: genes move between groups. This dramatically reduces inbreeding. Some scientists believe these social networks became one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. While other human species often lived in isolated populations, modern humans created connections. Those connections allowed ideas, technology, and genes to travel over huge distances. In a sense, humanity may have survived because our ancestors made friends and spouses outside their immediate communities. But before you conclude that ancient humans completely avoided relatives, reality is more complicated. In extremely isolated regions, avoiding relatives may have been impossible. Imagine a small tribe trapped by mountains, deserts, glaciers, or vast forests. Their choices were limited. Some level of inbreeding almost certainly occurred. And ancient DNA confirms this. Scientists studying prehistoric skeletons have occasionally found evidence of close family relationships. One of the most famous discoveries involved ancient human groups where parents were closely related. These cases prove that inbreeding did happen. But here's the important part. The evidence suggests it was not the norm. Instead, it appears to have been relatively uncommon among successful populations. Groups that consistently practiced close inbreeding may have faced serious genetic problems over time. Those groups were less likely to thrive. The populations that survived and expanded were generally the ones that maintained wider social connections. In other words, evolution may have favored cooperation over isolation. Then there are the Neanderthals. Our closest extinct human relatives. For years, scientists have analyzed Neanderthal DNA. The results revealed something surprising. Many Neanderthal populations appear to have been small and isolated. Genetic evidence suggests significant levels of inbreeding in some communities. This doesn't mean every Neanderthal family married close relatives. But their populations were often so small that avoiding distant relatives became difficult. Some researchers believe this lack of genetic diversity may have contributed to their vulnerability. When environments changed or diseases appeared, genetically similar populations had fewer advantages. Meanwhile, modern humans were building larger social networks and exchanging genes across wider territories. That difference may have helped tip the balance of survival. Perhaps the most astonishing discovery came from ancient DNA studies conducted in recent decades. Scientists can now analyze genetic material from skeletons thousands of years old. These studies reveal that humans were surprisingly mobile, people traveled, groups mixed. Communities exchanged members. Women often moved between tribes after forming partnerships. Men sometimes did as well. The prehistoric world was not as isolated as we once imagined. Instead of tiny groups remaining trapped in one location forever, many populations were connected through networks stretching hundreds of miles. Those connections acted like genetic highways, and they helped prevent dangerous levels of inbreeding. But let's return to the original question. Did ancient humans have children with relatives? Yes, sometimes they were human. They lived in small populations, and circumstances occasionally left few alternatives. But the bigger story is what they did to avoid it, long before science, long before genetics, long before anyone understood DNA. Human beings developed social systems that encouraged connections beyond the immediate family. These systems were so effective that traces of them still exist today. Many cultures around the world maintain traditions discouraging marriage between close relatives. Some of those traditions may have roots stretching back tens of thousands of years, back to campfires, back to mammoth hunters, back to the earliest chapters of human history. And perhaps that's the most remarkable lesson of all. When we imagine prehistoric humans, it's easy to picture them as primitive, but they were not foolish. They observed, they learned, they adapted. The survival of our species depended not only on strength, weapons, or intelligence. It depended on relationships, on cooperation, on reaching beyond the boundaries of one's own family. Because in the harsh world of prehistory, the groups that connected with others gained something priceless: new allies, new ideas, and healthier future generations. So the next time you hear someone ask whether ancient humans married their relatives, remember this: the real story isn't that they sometimes did. The real story is how humanity learned, thousands of generations ago, that survival was easier when strangers became family. And that simple lesson may have helped shape the entire human race.